All right, Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rachakwadash, the ones to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutations to all the Akim, pushing his word with truth and sincerity, with charity. Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, whom the word even calls God and Jehovah. Ba'asham is in the name. Yahweh Shai is his son's name, who the word even calls Jesus, and Rachakwadash is the Holy Spirit. As always, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans are the Israelites of the Bible, as well as the speckled bird amongst other nations who look like, whose outer appearance seems to be of the other nations, but whose lineage through their fathers' seed line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You are Israelites, no matter what your outer appearance may seem to be. I'm your diary from the Great Millstone Branch out here in Chicago, and I'm back with you another quick lesson. It's going to be entitled "Chastening is Good." Something around that sorts. But I just want to go into a few precepts and break down Hebrews. What is that? Hebrews. I want to talk about chastening. Hebrews 12. Because I was just going into a few words and it brought a few precepts to mind. So Lord willing, it'll be edifying. But really quick, this is Proverbs 13:24. It says, "He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes." So, it's like, let me go and grab that really quick. So, the scriptures tell you that he that loveth his son chastens him, man. And chastening is basically punishing for moral improvement, to raise up proper conduct, Proverbs 13:24. Let me go look at that word 13:24. So 13:24. So it said, "He that spareth his rod hateth his son." Right. So if you don't punish your child, you obviously you must not. You have a distaste from him. You don't want him to do good, right? It says, "But he that loveth him chasten him betimes." So if you do love your son, you're gonna chasten him. Let's go into the word chastening. Mawasar. If I'm correct, it says discipline, chasten, correction. Strong says chastisement, figuratively reproof, warning, or instruction, also restraint, bond, chastening, chastisement, check, correct, discipline, doctrine, instruction, rebuke. So if you love your son, you're gonna discipline him, man. Hey, how does that discipline? You might whoop him. In the case of the Lord with the children of Israel, Yahweh Shai with the children of Israel, he put curses on them, man, and sent them into captivity, man, until they acknowledged their offense. And the Lord, that happened to our nation, and we're still under it, but the Lord left a remnant that returned back unto him. And that's what you see, man. You have Israelites putting down the pork, putting down all the abominations, man. Because we figured out what we did, we accepted our punishment, man. So now, that punishment, that discipline that we received is rendering forth beneficial, upright works, So, it worked, the Lord knew what he was doing. This is Proverbs 23:13. It says, withhold not correction from the child, but if thou beatest him with the rod, he shall not die. Right. So, ultimately, the Yahweh B'Shem Shai, he disciplined, his elect, his children, so they will basically get right, Now 2/3 not, but his elect, that we Lord willing, we have that number, we're getting back in his good gracious, man. We are appointing our conduct upright, as the scriptures say. It says thou shalt beat him with the rod and shall deliver his soul from hell. Right. So this discipline is getting us out of the path of that destruction, Now let's go into that Hebrews 12 and verse 11. This is Hebrews chapter 12 verse. Right. I just started verse 9. It says, "Furthermore, we have had fathers of our flesh which corrected us, and we gave them reverence. Shall we not much rather be in subjection unto the Father of spirits and live?" Right. Right, that's plain and simple. It says, "For they verily for a few days chasten us after their own pleasure, but he for our profit." Right, so Yahweh B'Shem Shai, he's chastening us for our profit, It talks about basically when we are chastened now that we don't get basically judged with the world. I'm going to grab that one later. It says that we might be partakers of his holiness, right? So through us getting punished by the Most High Yahweh B'Shem Shai, is ultimately going to yield forth those peaceable fruits of righteousness, right? It says, "Now no chastening for the present seemeth to be joyous." Now chastening, that discipline, it's not fun. It doesn't feel good at all, but grievous, right? It says, "Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. Now let me go into that word yield. But let me go into grievous really quick. It says sorrow, pain, grief, annoyance, affliction. Hey, that's what it feel like sometimes when you getting chastened, man. It just feel like you being stepped on, man. It says yieldeth. It says to deliver, give away, owns profit, what is own, sale, pay off, charge, render, restore, requite. So you render something, you giving it, right? It says up, over, back, to give away, deliver, give, perform, recompense, reward, sell, yield, right? So it produces, right? We're just gonna replace that word produce. Produce. Nevertheless, afterward it yieldeth the peaceable. Let me see what that word peaceable is. It says relating to peace, peaceable, pacifist, loving peace, bring peace with, peaceful, salutary. It says by implication, salutary, peaceable, right? It yieldeth the. Let me see that word salutary. Producing good effects, beneficial, right? So that grievous punishment, it brings forth, it renders, it produces the beneficial, peaceable, beneficial fruit. Let me see what that word fruit is. Fruit, work, act, deed. So conduct, right? It yieldeth forth the it says it yieldeth the peaceable fruit, and I'm gonna just replace it. It brings the beneficial acts, deeds of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So, hey, getting punished ultimately results in you doing what's right. You getting it right, man. Say you got a son that's finna stick a fork in a socket or something, man, and you come out, you smack his hand, and you whoop him. You tell him, no, you don't do that. Next thing you know, next time that son sees that socket and that fork, man, he's not going to try and do it. Why? Because he was punished for it and he realized that he was wrong. And he realized that he shouldn't do it. Therefore, his works are now good, It says, wherefore lift up the hands which hang down and the knees and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet, lest that which is lame be turned out of the way, but let it rather be healed. But hey, the point was in verse 11. I'm going to just reword it. It says, now no chastening, no discipline for the present seems to be joyous. So right now in this flesh, it's not fun, but grievous, painful, hard, suffering, affliction. Nevertheless, although afterward, after this, when Yahweh Shemel Shai comes back and he sees those ones that have been exercised, it said afterward, it yieldeth the peaceable fruit of righteousness, the beneficial. It brings forth the beneficial acts of righteousness unto them which are exercised thereby. So hey, you gonna act right, man. You gonna act how Yahweh Shemel Shai wants you to act, man. Let me grab this really quick. Where that precept at? This is Psalms 50 and 22. It says, now consider this, ye that forget the Most High, lest I tear you in pieces and there be none to deliver. Whosoever offereth praise, glorify me, and to him that ordereth, meaning appoint his conversation, his conduct, how you go, your manner of life, all right, righteously, righteously according to law, such commandments, and having faith in Yahweh Shai. It says, will I show the salvation of the Most High? So, hey, us getting disciplined right now, it's ultimately going to result in us being better Israelites indeed, Israelites worthy of salvation, man. So hey, we can't just take it as a slap in the face and be all, muttering and talking back with it. Hey, just charge it to the game, man. This is 1 Corinthians 11 and 31. It says, for if we would judge ourselves, we shall not be judged. So hey, we have to be on ourselves, checking ourselves, right? It says, but when we are judged, we are chastened, disciplined of Yahweh, that we should not be condemned with the world. And hey, the Lord's chastening can come in various different forms. Your girlfriend, injuries, your car, anything, any of that, And that's the chastening of the Lord, and the Lord does that probably for something you did now, or you probably gonna do, or you didn't know you did. Whether or not you did something wrong, and the Lord is chastening for you. It's chastening you for it, man. So hey, with that, you can't just buck up and be like, man, why the Lord charge you? Hey, Salakia, how about Shemel Shai? For example, I was at work like a few days ago, and I had an accident. My utility knife went in my arm, and it cut my arm bad. I ain't need stitches, but it was a deep cut. And for a second I'm like, damn, damn. And I thought about it like I was finna get in that what I do, like why did this happen? But I had remembered like hey, maybe I have been going off. You know what? So I said Salaki Al Shai. And I said the water. Because I'd rather get a cut in the arm than eat a ICBM. But that was just a quick example. This is Revelation 3 and verse 9. It says, as many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. So, hey, the Lord chastening you is so that you will repent, and do better, and it's a testament of his love, man. 2 Maccabees 6 and 12 says, now I beseech those that read this book that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation, right? So everything that happened to our people, it was not, to just the Lord just stomping on us until we get put out of earth. No, it was for a disciplining of our nation, for us going off, right? It says, for it is a token, a sign of his great goodness, when wicked doers, us going off, being wicked, are not suffered any long time, but forthwith punished, right? So it's a token that Yahweh Shema Shai loves us enough to punish us for our wrongdoing. Compared to what? For not as with other nations the Gentile nations, whom the Lord patiently forbear to punish till they come to the fullness of their sins, so dealeth he with us. So hey, Yahweh B'Shem Shai doesn't love the other nations, so he doesn't chasten them. He doesn't care whether they not eat the pork, shrimp, and the lobster. He worried about his elect. He's worried about his elect than the rest of Israel. It says, lest that being come to the height of sin afterwards, he should take vengeance of us. So right, hey, after the Lord, the heathen nations, let me reword that. Yahweh Shema Shai is going to pay those heathen nations back, but he just let it mount up. So they just going to keep on doing wickedness and wickedness and wickedness until he sets up his army, his government. Yahweh Shema Shai sets up his government, and we beat the nations over the head, and teach them the law, statutes, commandments, as it says in Isaiah and in the book of Micah. It says, lest that being come to the height of sin, afterwards he should take vengeance of us, and therefore he never withdraweth his mercy from us, and though he punish with adversity, yet doth he never forsake his people. And that's the point, man. The Lord put us through the ringer, and it's hard, especially being in the flesh, going through some things, man. But hey, at the end of the day, he never withdraweth his mercy from us. And at the end of the day, everything that we're going through, that we went through, is to make us better judges, man. So why you charge it to the game, man? This is Sirach 30 and verse 1. It says, he that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, often, to get your ass whooped, that he may have joy of him in the end. So right when you get older, you in order, right? It says, he that chastiseth his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. So hey, you ain't gonna have just a reprobate, degenerate ass son, or daughter. It says, he that teacheth his son grieveth the enemy, right? You teach your son, then the enemy can't come through and penetrate his mind with his lies, and corrupt him, right? It says, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him, right? Right. It says, though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, for he have left one behind that is like himself. So hey, that cycle of righteousness, righteously disciplining your child keeps going on, and you keep getting a righteous man, a righteous Israelite. It says, while he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful, right? Because you don't got to worry about your legacy being fucked off, man. It says, he left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends, right? So you left back a man of the Lord. You produced, that discipline at a young age produced a man of the Lord, right? It says, and when he died, he was not sorrowful, it says, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends, right? It says, he that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. Let me see. It says, and the horse not broken becometh headstrong, and a child left himself be willful. Right. So, hey, if you're not disciplining your child, then basically he's gonna become a reprobate. Somebody's void of judgment. You know, someone that just can't make the right choices, man. Somebody just a no good. Look at Israel. Look at Israelites today, especially Southern Kingdom. Look at them. You know, just a bunch of no goods. You know. It says, right. It says, and a child left himself be willful. Right. So if a child isn't getting that discipline, you know, he's gonna become headstrong. He's gonna start becoming cocky, and he's just gonna become a whole demon. Verse 9 says, "Conquer thy child, and he shall make thee afraid. Play with him, and he will bring thee to heaviness." Right. So if you being lackadaisical with your child, man, you know, basically he gonna think you friends, and hey. You know, it's a difference between a boundary with your father and a boundary with your friend, you know. It says, and he will bring thee to heaviness, right? Because he's just going to make the wrong decisions and bring shame upon your name. It says, laugh not with him, lest thou have sorrow with him, and lest thou gnash thy teeth in the end, right? So you can't be too friendly with your child, you know. You can't be too lackadaisical. You can't be too, you know, basically, not strict, so to say. Because otherwise, he's just going to make a fool of you, you know, and you're going to regret it. Verse 11, it says, give him no liberty in his youth, and wink not at his follies. So, right, any little thing you're supposed to be on that, just like the Lord is with us, man. It says, bow down his neck while he is young, and beat him on the sides while he is a child, lest he wax stubborn and be disobedient unto thee, and so bring sorrow to thine heart. So a discipline, the scriptures tell you how to rule your, how the Lord deals with us, and how we should deal with our children. Why? To produce a good Israelite, you know, a righteous Israelite, man. It says, chastise thy son, discipline thy son, and hold him to labor, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee. Let me look at that word, lewd. Crude and offensive in a sexual way, vulgar. You're just gonna have a demon, you know. You know, it said, lest his lewd behavior be an offense unto thee, man. So, ultimately, discipline, chastening is for the betterment of us, you know. Yeah, and the Lord disciplined us, and 2/3 are going to be cut off, but 1/3 is going to be tried with fire, man, and we're going to be found, you know, clean, so to say, you know. So, with everything that happened, man, everything happens for a reason. Yahweh Shema Shai put you in certain predicaments for a reason. You go through certain things for a reason. But, at the end of the day, the Lord is dealing with you if you're going through these things, you know. So, you know, take it cheerfully, you know, as the scriptures say. And with that, you know, I'm going to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rakakwadash, belongs to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the icon, pushing his word, truth and sincerity, with sincerity and charity. Shalom and a Baba Ball.